Classic TV fans, Rick 9G here. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about the Munsters. Let's not confuse this with Rob Zombie's Munster movie. No, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to be talking about the original classic Munsters with Fred Gwynne, Al Lewis, Yvonne DiCarlo, Butch Patrick, as well as Pat Priest, Beverly Owens, depending on which Maryland you are looking at. But this has been some long lost footage. I'll talk a little bit about it in the history and what happened to it. This is the Munsters at Marineland Carnival. It's the Munsters Visit Marineland. That's what it's called. And it was lost for a long time. Now, this was made in 1965. If you're ever a fan or ever looking on YouTube and you see two YouTubers come together, or maybe a YouTuber with an artist or a star, it's usually called a YouTube collaboration. Now, that didn't start with YouTube. This went back a long time ago. In this case, same thing. Marineland, which was in Palos Verdes, California. Now it's no longer there. They actually tore it down and built a type of hotel, a type of spa area where people can come and lounge. Pretty ritzy area there. But anyway, it's called the Terranea Resort. But going back to Marineland, they wanted to pair up with the Munsters to get more butts in the seats, that is. Marineland was kind of like a Sea World. The idea that you can come and see things like sea lions, dolphins, things like that perform with people and music, just basically some entertainment. It was like a low-key theme park, let's say, with aquariums and touch tanks and things like that. And they wanted to advertise with the Munsters, put some commercials in there, and make an hour-long special. And that's what happened here. In 1965, this was essentially a TV movie, something that they would promote to you and say, hey, are you a Munsters fan? Well, the Munsters are going to go to Marineland, and basically cross-promote each other, right? People who maybe like Marineland would watch it and say, who are these Munsters individuals, and so forth. And so it would bring viewers to one another. I'll go and talk a little bit about essentially what happened in this hour-long special. I can't show the footage because that is copyrighted, but believe me, it's nothing too crazy, but it is interesting to see the Munsters, that is the characters in a different environment doing different things, promoting Marineland, and Marineland essentially doing a spot for the Munsters. Now, it's very simple. The idea here is that the Munsters take sight of everything that there is to see on Marineland. Now, this was actually shot on videotape. It was not shot on film, and this special was believed to have been lost for many years throughout the decades. Starting in 1965, it was essentially aired and then really never seen again. There was no reason for it to air again, and it was lost for years. Now, being lost for years, the only thing that was surviving was a commercial for the broadcast. That survived, but they didn't find this hour-long special until they found a weathered kinescope print. It was unearthed, and it was made available for viewing at the Paley Center first in New York, and then it made its way online, and they essentially put it on DVD so that people could watch it. And it's very interesting. I'll go through it so you can get an idea of what is going on. Essentially, you see an aerial view of Marineland, and you get an introduction showing that, hey, the Munsters are coming. Not only do you see all of the gang, you see Marilyn, you see Grandpa, you see Herman Munster, you see Lily, as well as little Eddie. And they're on the Munsters coach. They make their way in. They're near the aquariums, and it's pretty funny because what happens as they're driving in, they think this is a fish store. That's what they call it. The Munsters, oh, interesting fish store. Maybe we can get something for Eddie. And what happens, you see Marilyn and Eddie go off on their own, and then Grandpa, Lily, and Herman go off on their own. So they come out in a party of two, or two teams, that is, 3 and 2. And essentially Eddie and Marilyn watch one of the show with the seals, and the seals or sea lions are doing all these tricks and entertaining people. There's a little bit of a song. There's a group that was on the actual special, and they sing some songs for the people in the audience. Again, the animals do some tricks for everyone in the audience. And what's great is you have Marilyn and Eddie amongst the audience of people, and you have some kids looking back at Butch Patrick as Eddie Munster, because I'm sure they've seen him on TV and they're like, wow, cool, he's right here. Now, nothing crazy happens. There's a man that comes representing Marineland. He's played by Sid Gould, and he was great friends with Lucille Ball, actually related to Lucille Ball, distant family member. And so he plays kind of a shtick with the Munsters, saying, wow, these are weird, these individuals are weird. And then at one point we see Grandpa on a pole, and this is essentially a man dressed like Grandpa doing all these stunts on a pole, kind of like gymnastics, aerobatics. And there's jokes about, you know, Grandpa being so talented, the guy saying, oh my goodness, he's gonna fall down. And then Herman says, well, no, he maybe will fall up, but not down. I mean, never down, and so forth. And there's really no laugh track in the background, which makes it a little different. There's a little bit of laughing and music in the beginning as the Munsters coach come in. Then they kind of wander around the aquarium. They look at a couple animals. They look at quote-unquote mermaids, who are just humans dressed as mermaids in scuba diving gear in the aquarium with the fish and so forth. And then that's about it. I mean, the hour-long special goes pretty fast. It's a mixture of song and dance numbers, little skits here and there. They're not super funny, to be honest. They're not. Like, the comedy on the Munsters show was gold. This was very, very, very cheap. Not even that funny at all. It was mostly the visuals of seeing the Munsters in this place. I remember when I was a little kid, there was Elmo, and he was cooking with a famous cook at the time. And I remember being so psyched up about it. And when I finally did see Elmo on the show, I got bored within 5 or 10 minutes because it wasn't really funny. It was kind of live on the air. And it was just Elmo talking to this guy while this guy cooked. I don't know how to explain it. The hype was more than what happened. Well, kind of the same thing here. Again, what's most interesting is, believe me, you're seeing it. The dialogue isn't that great. It's just the idea of seeing the Munsters in a different environment, kind of branching out. And I think that's what brought interest to this product, or essentially to this TV movie. And believe me, that's probably why it wasn't aired later on or used every year, put throughout the episodes, you know, with reruns, because again, it wasn't that great. It also had a lot of commercials throughout, advertising things like orange juice, Minute Maid, things like that to, of course, pay for the TV movie. But I want to know your thoughts down below. I've showed you a lot of the images, snapshots of it, so you can get a basic idea of what was going on, what would be seen, and so forth. If you want to or pick it up, it is on Amazon. It is on other platforms. You can check it out. But like I said, you're not missing much. I think the gold gem are the actual visuals of you seeing the Munsters near aquariums and Munsters at a place that no longer exists. It's kind of cool, kind of fun to see. And then they kind of leave and they don't really find a pet for Eddie. It's the story is pretty weak, as I said, but it is nice to watch and just sit back, relax, and see the Munsters in a different environment. Let me know what you think about this. If you have seen it, if not, maybe you could catch a glimpse of it. Come back to this video and let me know what you think. Thanks for all the support as always. I do appreciate being back, making videos again. I do enjoy what I do. It is absolutely awesome. We'll see you next time. Don't forget, everyone, be hopeful. Thank you so much to everyone who supports my work on Patreon. David D, Sally N, Gerard D, Greg S, Ricky, Citizen Kane 359, Kevin K, and Vito L. If you want to appear on this list, don't forget to look at the Patreon description in the link below. Thank you.